Hey everybody, it's Mary. Thanks for stopping by my kitchen. I have had a lot of requests on how to can dried beans. Okay, the process is the same for any dried bean that you use, whether it's a pinto bean, a kidney bean, a black bean, a great northern bean. We're going to do it the same way. Okay, this is just a pound of dried beans right here from the grocery store. Okay, the first step is to look through them to make sure that you don't have any bad beans in there. Sometimes you'll have one that just doesn't look right, or you'll have one that's totally black, or just looks a little off. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go through these beans, and if we see any, we're going to pull those out, because that's definitely not something that we want to eat. Now, my mama calls the little black things rocks. And honestly, they look like a little rock, but I have no idea exactly what they are. But you always want to do that with any type of a dried bean. Okay, I have the beans looked, so I'm going to transfer them over into my strainer. Okay, I'm going to take this to the sink and I'm going to rinse everything really good to get all the dirt and everything from them, because folks, no matter how careful a factory is with dried beans, you're going to have some residue on there. So let me get these washed. Okay, I have a pot with a lid here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on high. I'm going to put my beans in the pot. Okay. And then I'm going to cover them with water. I'm going to cover them by about 2 to 3 inches of water. Well, that worked out just about perfectly, didn't it? Okay. We're going to put the lid on there. We're going to bring them up to a boil. After they come up to a boil, I'm going to turn them off. We're going to let them sit for 1 hour. Okay. After they sit for 1 hour, then I'm going to drain everything off. We're going to add more liquid, then we'll get ready to process. This is known as a quick soak. If you have time, and if you think about it, you could always do an overnight soak, which would be look the beans, wash the beans, put them in water, cover them, put the lid on it, have them covered good, and just set it aside overnight. But this is a quick soak because I didn't think about it last night, to be honest with you. How often do you folks forget things? I know I do a lot. Just let me know in the comments. But we'll be back in just a few minutes and get on with the next part of it. Okay, our hour is up, and you can see the size of the beans. You could probably see it better with a spoon if I stirred them up, right? Okay, you can see how much that those have absorbed the water. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to drain these beans, and we're going to put fresh water in them. We're going to bring them up to a boil, and we're going to boil them for 30 minutes. So let me go drain them. Pour those back in there. And again, we're going to cover these by 2 inches of water. Okay, at this point, we're not adding any seasoning or anything in there. Let's see, is that 2 inches? Yep. That's the best way to measure your beans and whatnot, folks. Just use your finger. Okay, I'm going to bring this back up to a boil and put the lid on so it'll come up quicker. And then I'm going to stir it fairly often for about 30 minutes, and then we'll get in the jars. Okay, our beans have been boiling for 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these off. There's plenty enough heat to keep everything hot until it gets into the canner. Okay, I have my canner preheating, and I have my jars over here in hot water. I always use a funnel so I don't make a mess. Okay. I'm adding sea salt. Folks, you can use sea salt, you can use pink Himalayan sea salt, you can use canning salt, and it's perfectly fine in the beans. But if you use the iodized salt, it could turn it cloudy. That's why everybody chooses to use the other salts. Okay. For a quart, you can use a teaspoon of salt. We do not like a lot of salt, so I always use just a little bit less than what it calls for. But typically, whenever you make a quart, you put a teaspoon of salt. And if you're doing a pint, then of course it's a half teaspoon. Bring this over and get it just as close together as we can. Putting my beans in here, and I'm going to leave about an inch headspace. These beans will get larger, folks, as they can. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to fill my other jars. That way I have everything as equal as what I can, because if I don't have enough to fill a quart, then I'll just put it in a pint jar. It won't hurt to process the pint for the quart time, guys. Again, we put our salt in and our beans. How often do you folks can beans? Have you ever canned beans? Do you use canned beans from the grocery store? Or do you prefer just to cook your own as you need them? Every person's different, and everyone likes different things. I like having stuff sitting on the shelf. It's a fast, easy meal. Folks, it looks like we may have about 3 quarts of these, which was a little bit over a pound, pound and a half, something like that. I did the pound, and then I had a few extras I just dumped in, to be honest with you. So I can't tell you the exact amount that I used. If you followed my channel very long, you know that's how I am. I do a little of this, a little of that, just to make it work. My kitchen, my rules, a recipe's a guideline. Fishing the rest of these beans out of there. We're definitely not going to have over the quart. Guys, this is real time, real life. I'm just trying to get it done so we've got 3 meals on hand. It'd be nice if these were floating now, wouldn't it? Okay, I think that's about all I can get out of that. So now we're going to take our ladle and we're going to put this hot liquid in our beans. I definitely want to use the same liquid that these things have been simmering in, so we don't lose any of the flavor. Okay, set that there. And we're just going to go ahead and fill up these last 2 jars, and then we'll get on to the next step. Okay, now that I have all of the liquid in the jars, I'm just going to wipe the rims off. I have a paper towel that I got wet. It just has water on it. I'm wiping this off to make sure that I don't have any residue or anything like that on the top. Now folks, that's hot. That's why I have a towel here. Because I don't want to burn myself. Okay. Okay. You put that on there finger tight, guys. Because if it's too tight, it won't seal. If it's too loose, it won't seal. So get it until it just starts to have a little bit of grip to it. And then that's all that you need. And just try not to get it cross-threaded. There you go. Alright. I'm going to cook these for 1 hour and 15 minutes under pressure. And then we have got 3 fantastic meal-in-a-jars. All we got to do is heat it up. I'll show you what they look like when they come out of the canner. Okay, the pressure has dropped on our canner, so it's time to take the beans out. Always be really careful whenever you're using 2 canners at the same time, because I still have pressure on this one. Alright, and there you go, folks. That is what they look like when they come out of the canner. You can see all the bubbles and everything still going on in there, and that pressure has been off for at least 20 minutes or so. But that is how you can the pinto beans or any dried beans by the book. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Like it, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends. I'd really appreciate it. It helps push me up in that YouTube algorithm. But thanks a bunch, and we'll see you on that next video.